And we also have found in the building industry that often this information is scattered in multiple locations, often entrusted with several vendors, and so a property management individual would have to investigate to find the right information to complete their task. Our argument is, or our encouragement for the industry is to take control of the information. Having access to all of your building data means that you will save money, not just on maintenance and repairs. You'll save money on the time it takes, the human capital of finding those answers to those documents that are blowing in the wind. We feel that this will create better service. Here in Western Canada, there's a lot of commercial property on the market. How can companies better service their tenants and their potential customers so that they can fill their buildings? Well, we feel information management is a key part of that. And of course, reducing stress. And who of us does not want to do that? Our solution is simple. We've built a product called Fusion Vault. It's built on the powerful mFiles ECM platform. Now, we've chosen to build this solution on the mFiles platform because of its flexibility and its scalability. In other words, it's very easy to customize and allows us to get started quickly. And we'll be demonstrating that as we go along. But the solution of our Fusion Vault solution will help you track everything about your buildings, from documents to drawings to your maintenance and scheduling. So let's take a look at this. We're going to look at this from the standpoint of the different players involved in the property management world. Now, everyone's company and situation is unique, so we're just going to give a generalized view. We're going to look at things from the maintenance person's point of view. We're going to look at it from the property manager's point of view, and as well from the owner's point of view. So we're just trying to tell a story here how this software could perform in this particular case. But it may not, if it doesn't match exactly yours, surely you will see how the principles will transmit over to what you have. So what we're going to do is we're going to move right into a demonstration of our solution. Now, as we mentioned, it's built on the powerful mFiles platform. One of the advantages of mFiles is when we log in, it's a very easy interface to navigate. We have views over here, which actually are like folders. They're like folders that allow us to see much more detail than we could have seen before. The other thing we'll notice right off the bat with mFiles is how beautifully it allows us to find the information or to process some sort of task in a variety of ways. Let's take an example of that. Let's say we were, for example, to go through our sample Fusion Vault, and we were to look, well, we have two sites in this vault. Now, a site is basically the property itself, the land. In some cases, your building might be the only building on that property, or in some cases, you might have several. If we were to extend this, we can see that on the main campus, we have 5 buildings. So very easily, we are able to navigate off of that main campus and find the buildings. If we were to directly have gone back, we can locate our buildings directly. Now, once we have our buildings here, we can as well expand these and see all of the information associated with that. Now, I'm just going to click once here on the building object, and we have metadata associated with that. Metadata is just basically all the extra information that's related to that building. Its location, who it's managed by. We can see here that I'm the property manager. But as well, importantly, we can see the equipment that is associated with this building. 17 pieces that are being tracked in this sample Fusion Vault. And we can see here, navigating right off the building, we can easily see the different equipment and the different documents and so forth that are associated with it. So we just stop and think right here. With our existing information system, are we so easily able to navigate to a building, find a piece of equipment, find all the documents associated with that equipment, including the manuals, the floor plans, pictures? This interface is very, very easy to navigate. This is one of the main reasons why we enjoy using and building our product on the mFiles platform. It makes finding information so easy. Now, let's talk about the issue of maintenance. Now, maintenance is an important part of property management. In fact, it's probably the larger percentage of what concerns people as they're taking care of their assets. So off of this piece of equipment here, we see that there's 3 what we call maintenance cycles. Now this is a boiler that we have in this building, and off of this boiler we have several tasks that are associated with it. These are like scheduled maintenance cycles. So if we were to check out the boiler, annual boiler maintenance, well, it looks like it got missed here, simply for the purposes of our demonstration, of course. But it's been assigned a certain date, and there's certain tasks associated with these. What will happen is, as these dates that they're assigned are reached, these will automatically create work orders for our staff and for others to follow up on. Let's see how that works. Now, just to be clear, normally this would happen automatically on the date outlined here, which would have been July 1st. But for the purpose of our demonstration, because we're not going to wait for the 1st of every month in our webinar, we're just going to push this one maintenance workflow. We're going to make it active. Now, normally this would be done automatically. Now, by doing that, what has happened is it's created an automatic workflow assignment. Now, who is that assignment going to? Well, if we were to navigate to this piece of equipment or back to the piece of equipment up here, we would notice that this equipment is maintained by Gateway Mechanical and is serviced by a fine individual called Bob HVAC, who is the fine individual who is taking care of this. Now, this individual could either work for your organization or it could be an outside person. Let's just see what happens here when we connect to an iPhone. And I'm going to have to change my passcode now because everyone in the whole internet can see it. I've logged into my iPhone as Bob HVAC. And we can see Bob HVAC just received an email just a few seconds ago that got triggered by that automatic workflow. I'm going to click on this guy here, and I'm going to see, oh, you received a new assignment. And this outlines basically what the tasks are involved for the annual maintenance of this boiler, when it's due, and some hyperlinks here. Now, Bob HVAC has mFiles installed. And so he's able to click on this link. He could still receive the email even if he didn't have mFiles, but he has mFiles, the free app installed. Click on the mobile link. And this takes us to our assignment. Off of our assignment, we're able to actually see the related data. For example, we're able to see the related piece of equipment. And then off the related piece of equipment, we're able to see the previous work orders that have been completed on this unit. We're able to see the picture, the operations manual, and as well the floor plan. We'll just take a look at this floor plan. We're going to look at this floor plan a couple different times. We can actually zoom in here, and there we go. So there's no question as to which unit is going to be supported. We can see the unit right there in the top of the building. The value of this, having all of this data available, is that Bob HVAC has the information he needs to get the job done. If we were to look in all views, just to take a little step aside, and we were to flip over to equipment, what we'll notice is these are the 4 pieces of equipment that Bob HVAC supports. So he has a listing of these, and as work orders get created, they will automatically be associated. Now we're just going to go back to our home and go back. We can see that Bob, yes, in fact, does have one item assigned to him. We're going to click here on the work order. If needed, a file could be added, for example, a picture, if some issue was there. But for the most part, this annual maintenance went very well. So I'm going to click up there. Oops, my apologies. I clicked on the wrong button. I'm going to click on Mark Completed, and I'm going to say, Done. All was well. So now, within a few moments, this work order will be cleared off of Bob's desk. Sometimes it just takes a moment to cycle through that. We'll just give it another second here. We'll click on Assigned. There, all views. And we can see that, yes, in fact, this task is no longer assigned. It has been completed. So without having to submit any other paperwork, it has now been reported back to the system that this maintenance has been completed. Now, we're going to shut down on our iPhone for now. We can always bring that back up if we need to later. So now if we were to go back to our equipment, find our equipment, and then find our maintenance workflow, we will find that the work order has been implemented. We'll just find this a different way just to make it a little clearer. Let's go back to our equipment. We'll go here, maintenance cycle. And we can find that this work order is now associated as a completed work order with the unit. And if you'll note, the date has been updated to 2017. Because this is an annual task that needed to be completed, now it's been rescheduled for next July. So full accountability and full traceability off of the fine work of Bob HVAC. So that was the benefit or the application of this technology from the maintenance person's point of view. It allows him to perform his tasks with all the information he needs to get it done. If there's an issue, he has access to photographs, documentation that'll help him through that particular problem. Now let's switch gears over to the property manager. Now the property manager in this case we can think of as the quarterback. He's responsible for a lot of different maintenance on a lot of different equipment, and he has to keep all these balls in the air without dropping. Now, let's go back to that example of the floor plan. So we'll just navigate to the floor plan through a different approach. Now, if the property manager were to learn of a problem with that boiler, he's not in his buildings all the time. He might maintain a portfolio of 20 or 30 buildings, and he might actually not 100% be clear as to where that particular boiler is. he could link to the same floor plan, do a preview, and we can see he's able to locate, first of all, he's able to locate this because the equipment's associated with it. Okay. But once he's in here, he can map, he can actually look it up in reverse. So we'll just use our zooming tool here. Go there. Now if I were to click on here, we have a hyperlink. This hyperlink will take you to the piece of equipment in question, doing like a reverse lookup from the floor plan. Click on there, and there we go. And now from the floor plan, he is easily able to expand that, see the different maintenance cycles involved, the manual, who the service company is, service work, and the completed work orders for that. So his ability to find information, even if he's not in the building all the time, is greatly enhanced if he has this information stored. Now let's talk a little bit more about these maintenance cycles, because that would be a key component of the work of our property manager. What we're going to do is we can take a look. Now if we were to look in our views, we can basically take a look at our views and break up these maintenance cycles. We can say, show me them by building, and this will show me all the maintenance cycles on that building. As well, we can say, show me by building, and then by equipment. So the dynamic nature of the folders in the MFALS platform is extraordinary. It allows us to query the information in a very specific way. Here are the maintenance cycles that are due in July for all of the buildings. Having the ability to navigate through this information, even through these simple views, is a real game changer for the property manager who needs to manage all these different pieces moving in his buildings. Let's just take a look at this information in a different format. We'll go down here to reports, and we'll go in here and we'll take a look at our maintenance cycles from here. Now what this will do, it'll show a preview there, but maybe what I'll do is just to make it a little bigger, I'll hit show. Now as of last night, here are the various maintenance cycles and when they need to be done. Going back to the boiler, we can click here. We can see very easily, from a very high level, all the different tasks that are involved, all the different times that these maintenance cycles get activated. This report is generated from the information that the property manager puts into MFiles. So this report will reflect that information on whatever updated on a daily or weekly basis. Once we see, yes, the annual maintenance is here, we can confirm the tasks. If you need to inquire, these in fact are the tasks that are to be included in the annual maintenance. But there's other maintenance as well. On this particular boiler, for example, 4 times a year, we have a very simple task that we require our team to check the temperature of the boiler. And so these are all very small things, but they're all critical to the sound operation of our equipment. And not allowing these things to drop is critical to the property manager. What's another thing he can track? Well, again, all these different work orders are being generated. So if we were to browse over to our work orders, we could actually see a summary of all of our different work orders in a report form. Of course, this will be as of last night in our particular case, or we can simply say by building. Those are the completed work orders, or by building by state. So in other words, what work orders still need to be done? What's outstanding that's still, when we say active, perhaps I chose the wrong word there. What is active and still needs to be completed? So drilling into that information would give the property manager very good insight and react to changing situations. So let's think about the value of Fusion Vault to the property manager. It helps him to keep, as the quarterback, helps him to keep the balls in the air, landing to the receivers so that they can get the task done. It allows full exposure to what has been done and what still remains to be done, and allows them to drill deeper into all the activity that's going on throughout the various projects or buildings that he supports. So that's our second example, the property manager. Now the building owner is going to be our third perspective of how the Fusion Vault can help. Now from our experience, the building owner is often the individual with the least amount of exposure to the building data. He might think in terms of big picture items, the money and assets that need to be replaced, but in most cases, he would never have exposure to the raw data. But we're going to demonstrate how this information in the vault can be very, very useful to him. First of all, we're just going to shut down our client. Now, to this point, we've demonstrated the Fusion Vault on a desktop application, and we've also demonstrated it on a mobile device. Perhaps our building owner doesn't check in that often, but nevertheless, we can give him access to our website, and he can log right into a web portal. Now, this web portal actually has almost all the functionality that you would expect from a desktop version of M-Files. Very nicely designed. The views that we'd see here could be browsed just as we were browsing them before. The exact same information would become available. Now, let's take a look at some of the types of information that a building owner might be interested in. Let's go to another report here. Now, ask yourself, are we able to provide this right now? The equipment models, we can look at a report by equipment models. Basically, this is the type of equipment here, whether it's an air compressor, a boiler, rooftop unit. Here's the different equipment model names or the make of these particular products. So it's like doing a little bit of a reverse lookup. It's saying, we know we have 3 of these type of boilers. Show me where they are. So if we were to click here, we were to see that this boiler, for example, is in yellow building. Here's the serial number. There's the location. Here's the date it was installed, and there's the date we need to replace. Now let's just investigate a little more. We're going to click down here. We're going to click on this one. So this one here in the blue building, this is the boiler that we've been looking at. And we find out something very interesting, of course, from this that may not have been obvious. We find out that this boiler and the one adjacent to it on our floor plan, these boilers are actually slated for replacement in 2015. Now, boilers have a habit of working longer than they should, but nevertheless, this is a trigger that something needs to be budgeted for Blue Building to get 2 new boilers, because there will be a point of diminishing return where the older equipment will require more maintenance and be less energy efficient, and therefore it's a little like throwing good money after bad. At some point, we have a schedule that we expect these to last about 25 years, and now at the end of the 25 years, we should be looking to replace this. So rather than waiting to simply find out that a boiler is too old or needs to be replaced, or waiting to find out rather that it's broken down or costing more and more, we're very quickly able to see that yes, in fact, we should look at scheduling the replacement of that boiler. Another aspect that can really help a building owner is when he wants to make modifications to his building. Now, in many cases, when modifications are required, he needs a floor plan. Often floor plans are not stored, or there might be a paper format, or there might be a PDF of them. But when we go to want to develop our property, those floor plans and the information on them is critical to our operation. So let's just go back. Keep in mind we're still on the web version here, so it's very nice interaction here. We're just going to go into Documents and go Drawings, and we're going to be able to find out that floor plan. Now remember, we had looked at this floor plan previously in our example. This is another floor plan here. So possibly our building owner wants to repurpose some of this space. How can we do this? Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to double click on this file, and in this case we're just going to say we're going to open it in read only. Now this is a little bit of transition here because we store all of our data in Fusion Vault, but we use another piece of software. We support it, we train people, is software called Bluebeam PDF Review. And one of the real advantages of using Bluebeam for property management is that we're able to quickly measure areas and take measurements off of this to see if our plans for the future are viable. For example, let's say there is a desire to repurpose our breakfast area and our kitchen, and perhaps use it as a coffee shop or a restaurant with doors to the outside for the public. Well, what we're able to do inside of Bluebeam is to take a measurement, and I'm able to snap around. Now, you can actually make curves for these measurements, but I'm not going to go through the trouble, and we're just going to snap around and take the whole area that we're looking at, and we're going to hit enter. Click on this, go to our fill, and we're just going to change our fill opacity. So we can see that this is nearly 6,000 square feet of area that could be repurposed. Well, it turns out that that's a good amount for us to look at redeveloping the space, perhaps into space that we could rent out to a coffee shop or to some kind of outside-facing establishment. So now, a property manager or a building owner would ask an architect or an interior designer to get involved with this project and say, well, could you make a layout for us? He perhaps could draw some information in here as to how he positioned perhaps the walls going, so on and so forth. But he's going to need a professional to lay this out in such a way that will reflect exactly what he wants. So the first thing you can do is to grab a snapshot of this, say, okay, this is the area I want, start into his email, and paste that. So we grab that snapshot. We're just going to flip over. We'll flip over here to perhaps a Word document. Paste that in. Now he can communicate what he wants to accomplish in here. But as well, in this particular example of the Fusion Vault, we have access to our DWG file, which is an AutoCAD format. So he can grab this file format and now share it as a public link, or perhaps just copy it out and email it to someone else. So keep in mind, he's accessing all of this data from a mobile application, and by having a compatible product such as Bluebeam, he's able to take very high-level information off of it. So we can see from our demonstration here that regardless of our role as we develop and maintain our properties, having this information available to us, the right information, saves us time, saves us money, and helps us get our job done with less stress. So just to wrap up here, what we're going to do is flip back to our PowerPoint. Minimize that. We'll summarize our solution. We provide Fusion Vault as an on-premise or a hosted solution to companies wishing to maintain their data. We also are a reseller of Bluebeam PDF review software, which is a good software to use in conjunction with Fusion Vault, helping us to leverage the value of our floor plans. Now, many property managers may not even have a floor plan. Perhaps your staff, for example, does not have a version of AutoCAD or similar software to create those floor plans. So we offer the service of helping companies to implement those floor plans. And as well, we offer the services if there's a lot of legacy data to help companies upload it. Now, you might wonder why the roofing company is shown here rather than a nice technology picture. The other reason for this is just to demonstrate the importance of a solution rather than a product. We do offer products. We offer Fusion Vault. We offer Bluebeam. And these are products that you can buy from us. But if you needed a new roof, if your roof was leaky and you needed that problem solved, would you be happy with companies selling you the product to do it? Perhaps renting out the air nailers, dropping off boxes of shingles and nails? Or would you like a company to come and solve the problem for you? So we just want to be very clear as to our approach to this solution. It's not a complicated solution, but if it's not in your core business to get this working, to install it on premise, to migrate your data, we want to make it clear that we're very, very happy to assist you with this process. So that concludes the demonstration and discussion on Fusion Vault. We're now going to turn it back to Heather to see if there's any questions that she has generated from our discussion.
I do, Joe, thanks. I have a few questions here. The first one is, just give me a sec. I think this is back when you were showing it on your iPhone. He said a cool app to have on your iPhone screen. Could you share which app that is?
Yes. So just to review, Fusion Vault is based on mFiles technology. So it is the mFiles app, which will work in either the Windows Phone, iOS, or Android. There's no charge to download the mFiles app. Of course, it has to connect to something, and so to get one way or the other, there needs to be there is charge to getting the mFiles license set up, whether you host it on premise or you allow us to do it for you. There's charges with that, but the mFiles app is completely free. The only device that's not directly supported by an app are Blackberries. You can still use the mobile device off the web page that we showed.
Okay, great. The next question is, if we wanted to do something like this, how would we get all of our paper documentation and electronic files into your system?
Well, as we mentioned, there might be a considerable amount of data that would need to be migrated in terms of legacy. There might be paperwork, there might be drawings. not every company may see the value in having drawings, and we agree. If you manage 4-story apartment buildings, the investment to have up-to-date floor plans you might feel is not the most practical use of your money. If you operate malls, hotels, having up-to-date floor plans would be of a lot of value. So we're willing to definitely help companies through data migration services, and we're able to help them to get the information up on the Fusion Vault on a project-based system.
Okay, the next one is this an exclusive property management solution? Could we use it to track training of our employees?
Well, the MFiles platform is so flexible that it could be used for any number of devices, any number of functions. We've purpose-built Fusion Vault to handle issues such as property management concerns. Could it handle other applications such as training, or many people use it for invoice tracking, for customer relations management? MFiles can be modified for those purposes as well.
Okay. If we wanted a solution on site, could we still back up to the cloud?
Yes. So that is MFiles is one of the main reasons why we've gone with MFiles, and we couldn't be happier with our choice. MFiles is the most flexible information management system in the world, we think. Very easily on the back end, the data could be replicated from an on-premise location, could be replicated through MFiles Cloud Vault, and that would allow you to have backup and have redundancy. So the real configurations, it can be configured to work on-premise, it can be configured to work on the cloud, or it can be actually configured to operate in a hybrid environment as well.
Okay, and it looks like one last question. So if you have any other questions, go ahead and feel free to submit them. But here's the last one that we have so far. How do you get the links in a document so that you can link to the object from the preview? How do you get the links in a document so that you can link to the object from the preview?
So that relates back to our discussion on the floor plans.